Going on, everybody? What is going on? The catch fam. I hope you guys are doing great. Hope everyone's had a fantastic Saturday. Hope the weekend is going fantastic. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Hope you guys are ready because we're headed straight into another week of the 2024 fantasy football season, week 13. Almost here, ladies and gentlemen. I know we've already had 4 games played, but week 13 Sunday and 1 game on Monday is almost here. This season is flying by. And boy, oh boy, do we have another doozy of a week with injuries and questionable players and a lot of good fantasy performances on Thanksgiving Day and whatnot. So a lot of implications already down for the week and a lot of implications to come. So you know exactly what we need to do. Live fantasy Q&A, whatever you guys need. Start sits, add drops, last minute waiver additions. I know we got no teams on bye week here in week 13 before we head into a second bye-ocalypse in week 14 with 6 teams on bye week next week. So probably don't need going too crazy on the waiver there, but there is potential that you may need to. And trade deadline is probably over for most of you guys, but of course, if you have trade questions, hit me with them. But whatever you guys need, fantasy football wise, get in the live chat. Let me know how you guys are doing. Let me know how your Thanksgiving went. Let me know how you guys are doing. But most importantly, get those fantasy football questions in the live chat, and we will start rolling through them shortly here. Do me a favor and hit the like button on the way in, guys. And let's have some fun. Let's talk some fantasy football, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are doing just splendid tonight. So let me get this week's rankings pulled up, and I'm going to go through the news very quickly, and then I will start rolling through question by question for you guys. I will be able to get through every question in the chat. It might take me a little bit, but I will be able to do it. I promise. But if you guys want something answered right away, of course, you can send a super chat and I will answer your question right away. So I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, Black Friday, whatever you guys do from Thanksgiving through the weekend. Hope it went fantastic. And it's that time of year, baby. It's almost Christmas. Let's go. It's cold outside. All right. In terms of news, Cedric Tillman's out against the Broncos, dealing with that concussion. So this is good news for Jerry Jeudy owners. So I'll just leave it at that. I think the Cedric Tillman hype is like, man, it's trending down. Austin Eckler is heading to IR, dealing with that concussion. So he'll miss at least 4 games. So he might be out there for week 17, right? If my math is right. I was about to say, is he droppable? It's close. J.K. Dobbins is also headed to IR. So I guess what Dobbins is out. If you head to IR, you're out 4 games right away, right? Sleeper has not made this update. Sleeper, please change that so we can put Dobbins on IR. And yeah, so I think that's the rule, right? They had to IR, they miss at least 4 games. Maybe Sleeper just made the update because earlier when I checked, it wasn't updated, but it looks like it is now, which is good. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Eckler will be back for the fantasy championship, but he's at home versus Atlanta. It's not a great matchup. And then Dobby, on the other hand, gets New England on the road. It's a decent matchup, but like that's kind of the thing. Like if the Commanders or Chargers are headed towards the playoffs, they might kind of rest those players depending on those games. So, and how the run game looks without them in both those teams. And you got Gus Edwards, Kamani Vidal, Hassan Haskins. And for Washington, you obviously got McNichols and Brian Robinson, right? So that sucks. The Cardinals signed James Conner to a 2-year contract extension. Does not look like he's going anywhere, which probably means he's going to continue to get volume. Brock Purdy is still questionable. This is such a big, like, what do we do here? Because this is going to affect Debo. It's going to affect Jennings. It's going to affect Kittle. It's going to affect C-Mac. Pearsall's kind of not a startable player right now, but Jennings and Kittle are the two that I'm most confident with. I'm still okay with C-Mac, but if Purdy does not play, like, I'm not starting Debo, I can tell you that much. And I get a lot lower on Christian McCaffrey, but the news report is that Purdy is expected to play, which has been my belief from early in the week that this would happen because this is a must-win game for the Niners, and they will not win this game if Purdy does not play. And they might still lose this game. They very well could lose this game if Purdy does not play. I don't think they're eliminated from playoff contention if they lose just yet. That division's still pretty wide open. We still got a little bit of ways to go here on the season, right? But man, I mean, if Purdy doesn't play, the Niners might just they're going to get absolutely stomped. So, and we'll see what happens, but it's just so annoying because it's Sunday night, So like we gotta make these choices before. So right now, Kittle, fine. Everybody else is kind of up in the air. Really sucks. Other than that, Josh Downs is out this week. Trevor Lawrence is expected to play. Dalton Kincaid is out. And I believe that's just about everything. So little bit of an update for you guys, and let's hop right into it. Let me know what you guys need. Let's talk some fantasy football, boys and girls. Let me move this. There we go. Blaster, good luck to you this week as well. Mr. Jones, what's going on? The chat is open. Tox, what's up, homie? JSN or James Cook? This is a good question this week. I think obviously both are very startable, to say the least. It's a tough matchup for JSN, but like, what defensive pressure is he going to draw? Like Metcalf's going to be on the field, and like this Niners defense, just, I mean, they don't scare me. Let's see here. They come in 21st against the run. Like they've really fallen. Like they haven't been good on the season, but they've just fallen back slowly on the season. Now a bottom 12 unit. I'm probably going James Cook. I have a tough time benching James Cook right now. I mean, I really like JSN, but we kind of have like at any given time, maybe JSN starts to fall back a little bit. Like he's fine. I think he has a very good floor. But I mean, the Jets, like that's another defense that's just slowly falling back throughout the season that does not scare me. But on paper, he has the worst possible matchup. So the Jets are still allowing the fewest fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. I would go Cook, but very close. I like both still. Good to see you, Tox. JSC, what's going on, man? Do you think Vidal can beat out his current competition for touches? No. My answer is no here. I think Vidal is really tough. I talked about this in the last minute waiver video, which came out late last night for today. Like, I think Vidal will get involvement, but like we also kind of got hopeful on Vidal after the game against Denver. What was that, like week 6, off of one catch? Like he got some opportunities between week 6 and 9, and like there just wasn't a whole lot there. I don't really know what his role is. Like people are expecting it to be like this pass catching role, which would make sense because Haskins and Gus Bus aren't going to do that, but like they're kind of just throwing to the wide receivers and Will Dissly right now. So like my answer is no. I really think it's going to be like a lot of touches to Gus Edwards, and we might see some sprinkles of Vidal, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to where like we're starting him on or confident to start him on a weekly basis. Like I think if anything is going to turn into like a desperation play, but this is going to be a committee backfield, and Hassan Haskins will get some touches too. So I mean, you can pick up Vidal. I think he has more upside here than like Haskins, for example, but I just don't know about this one. I don't think it's going to be good for fantasy. Taylor, what's good, bro? We got Pollard, B-Rob Smith, BTJ, and full PPR start too. Yeah, all are very startable. I know Devonta Smith is still listed as questionable, so I do have some concerns about him. But I mean, if Devonta Smith plays this week, I think this is a bounce back spot for him. So I do like him, as the Ravens still allow the 31st most fantasy points to wide receivers. B. Tom, it's a smash matchup. I'm probably not benching him. I'm probably starting be Tom. The Texans give up the 23rd most fantasy points to wide receivers, but I just love this matchup with Trevor Lawrence back out there. And then the other two, I do like this week, but it's a stiff matchup for B Rob. Titans are 10th against the position. And then on the other hand, it's a little bit of a better matchup for Pollard, but the Commanders still come in 17th against the position. So, to be honest, in full PPR, I kind of prefer Devonta and BTJ. I think they have more upside here, but if you don't like Devonta, I go Pollard. The good news for B Rob, though, is that, Eckler is not out there. McNichols will get some involvement. I know they re signed Chris Rodriguez, right? Or they re elevated him or whatever. I'm not too concerned about that, though. Rock, what's up? Njoku or Henry? I'd say Henry for a floor. Njoku for kind of more risk, but upside. It's just not a great matchup for Njoku. The Broncos allow the 10th fewest points to the position, and the Colts have been really bad against tight ends, giving up the 26 most points. So I lean Hunter Henry. If it was my roster, I'd start Henry. Mr. Jones, Chuba, Walker, B-Rob, MH Jr., choose 3. Yeah, I'm going Chuba. Chuba is, we're never benching Chuba again. I'll go MH Jr. against the Vikings. They're now allowing the most fantasy points to wide receivers. It's tough between the next two. I'd probably go Walker, but I think you could really flip a coin between Walker and B-Rob. I will go Walker I don't know why it feels like I'm a little bit low on Brian Robinson. I don't want to say that I'm like out on him this week, but I mean he could of course pop off. I mean, but I feel like I lean Walker just a bit. I feel like the Jets could just really end up having a bad week. I mean, they're 11th against running backs. Like, it's not that different than B-Rob, as the Titans are 10th against position. So you could really flip a coin there. But Chuba and MH for sure for me. And then you could just kind of whoever you like better out of Walker and B-Rob. Similar output this week for me for those two. Armando was good, bro. We got a flex start. Taysom Hill, Jalen Warren, or Leggett. I would probably personally roll with Jalen Warren. I just feel like you get the best floor there. But if you want to risk, try and get some upside here, go Taysom Hill. But who in the world knows what you're actually going to get? That's tough to say. But yeah, I mean, like Warren kind of gives you that floor. He's been fine. So I'm okay going Warren there. The Bengals aren't very good. Or where do the Bengals come in against the run? I feel like they might. I think, yeah, they're stinkier than you think. They're 9th against the run, so that's on me. But you could go Taysom Hill here. I mean, I think Leggett's startable, but let's kind of like maybe like it is a great matchup for Leggett. So if you want to take the matchup, best matchup here is Xavier Leggett against the Bucks. But we got Thielen back, then David Moore got that involvement. Jatavion Sanders is out more than I haven't even checked, but I'm assuming he's out after last week. So Leggett could be sneaky here, but like we kind of want to see this volume how it's going to get spread around, because that last week was Thielen's first game back. It was a tough matchup for everyone against the Chiefs last week. They performed pretty well, right? But this is a much better matchup. So the floors with Warren, the matchups with Leggett, the upside and risk is with Hill. This could really go in any direction. I might just start Leggett, honestly, and take the matchup. Played Higgins and Moore. Didn't play Mickens. Didn't play Mickens. Didn't play Pickens. Is that a mistake? Nah, that's fine. I mean, I really like Pickens this week. But DJ Moore obviously had a good game. And I think Higgins, Pickens, like it's very close between those two. I mean, better matchup for Pickens for what it's worth. But yeah, I mean, I have a tough time benching Higgins on a regular basis. So I'm good at going Higgins if that's who you like. Jordan, what's good? I'm locked into a playoff spot. Congrats. Should I drop Bigsby to start stashing high value handcuff running backs like Benson or Corum? Yeah. I mean, I've been saying for like over a week now that Bigsby is basically droppable. If you're locked in, then the worst case scenario, if either of those running backs don't end up being a thing, then you have kind of a rotational bench spot, which can give you some value in the playoffs, you know? So, I mean, Bigsby could always pop back up, I guess, but he's been incredibly inconsistent with the volume and chances he's gotten on the season. And ETN is back. I mean, they're both back, you know? So, I mean, it's really up to you. Like, you might still get some points out of Bigsby. There's maybe potential for RB1 volume there. But if you'd rather do a handcuff, then that's fine too. Glitch mod, Judy or MVS. Man, the floor lies with Judy. The upside's with MVS, but he's probably riskier. I mean, it's a bad matchup for Judy. I know Pat Surtain hasn't been as shut down as of late, but he does get the Broncos, and I don't particularly love that for Judy. But Tillman's out, so it's really going to go Judy and Joku and Elijah Moore out there. I would probably take the floor and go Judy, but if you want the upside, you can roll with MVS. It's a good matchup for him. Mooney or Shakir. Shakir. I just like, if I own Khalil Shakir, I just start Khalil Shakir. Safe 10 points every week. What, he had one start on the season that wasn't double digits against the Jets, and that was a game with, I want to say, no Coleman, and Cooper wasn't on the team yet. I might be wrong. Now I want to check. But it was against the Jets. So that was week 6. And no, Coleman did play that game. Somebody else was out, but who cares? Yeah, like, it's just like this one of those super safe floor plays. So I will go Shakir, but Mooney's fine too if you like him. Ramondre, Najee, Mooney. I will go Ramondre. I think Najee and Mooney are very startable here, but I really like Ramondre this week. Great matchup for him. I think he's in a good spot here against the Colts. So it is a home game for the Pats. The Colts have been really bad against running backs. So, I mean, I know Ramondre's been very inconsistent, but the Colts give up the 27th most fantasy points to the position. So, yeah, I'm going Ramondre. Stroh tonight, sit one. Walker, Hall, Chase Brown, or Chuba. Man, that's tough. I would sit Walker. His ceiling has not been as high lately. The Seahawks are throwing the football a bit more. It's not like a bad matchup. I don't believe in the Jets defense, but they're coming out of their bye. They're still allowing the 11th fewest fantasy points to running backs. I think Walker could have a really good game, but I have a tough time benching Breece Hall still. I'm still a Breece Hall believer. I know we got like the reports about his knee, and people were like, oh my gosh. And I think he's still questionable. Yeah, he's expected to play. He's had some knee soreness. So, but gosh, he's got such a good strength of schedule for running back. Seattle, Miami, Jacksonville, LA Rams, and Buffalo. Had 30 points in his last game. I'm going to Hall, Chase Brown, and Chuba. I'm not benching Chase Brown for the rest of the season. I'm not benching Chuba for the rest of the season unless you got like Kamara, Bijan, and Henry or something like that. I mean, that could be a real roster, even a 12-team league. Chase Brown and Chuba were late round picks. But yeah, those two guys I'm not benching, and I will go Hall, but it's still close. Lots of good options. Rashad White or James Conner. You guys are going to hate me. I will go Rashad White. You guys are going to hate me. I mean, Conner is always startable regardless of the circumstance. But this is a tough matchup, as this Vikings run defense is just no joke, giving up the 3rd fewest fantasy points to the running back position. And, you look at Conner, 9.9 points in his last game. I mean, I don't read too much into it. He's only had single digits 3 times on the season. And before week 12, he had 14.9 or more points in 4 straight weeks. I mean, Conner can always get it done, always stumble into the end zone, but it's a road game here. This Minnesota run defense is really good. So I like Rashad White again this week. I mean, he gets the Panthers. I still think he's going to get involvement. I know Bucky Irving is going to be the guy, but personally, I would take the matchup and go Rashad White. I think this could be a down week for Conner, but we shall see. He's always startable, can always stumble into the end zone too. AP, Disley or Hawk this week? Man, Hawkinson's so tough to read. So tough to read. Where do the Cardinals come in against tight end? Let me check for you. They're 7th. They're pretty dang good. And then Disley gets the Falcons. They're 19th. I think I still go Hawk. I mean, he played really well against the Bears, and the Bears are wow, they moved back against tight ends. They're 16th against the position, but they were playing pretty well against tight ends before past week or so, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but I think I still go Hawk, but it's close. Corey, we got 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Lots of options here. So let's start at a wide receiver. I'm starting Cortland Sutton. Oh gosh, you got a lot of options. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm not benching Cup. So give me Cup. Give me Pickens. Give me Bijan. Give me Bucky Irving. And give me Chase Brown. But this could go in a lot of directions. I really like a Sutton is like a I mean, Sutton McLaurin are both kind of non-benchable players. So that's tough, but I think Cup and Pickens are right there right now. So you take away last week against the Browns, and Pickens is the wide receiver 3 in fantasy in that stretch. Is that it's Bijan and Bucky Irving, right? It's not a typo there. As Bijan Irving. It's just Bijan and Bucky Irving, not Bucky Irving spelt as Bijan Irving, right? I mean, with the wide receivers here, it could go any direction. I still really like Devonta Smith's matchup this week. Tough matchup for McLaurin, but still really like him. Really like Sutton. And the good news is you have good starts no matter what. Stafford or Kyler, the floors with Stafford, the upsides with Kyler. I probably lean Stafford because you just never really know what you're going to get out of Kyler, but he might pop this week. He might pop off. He's going to be forced to throw the football. It's going to be an interesting matchup for him. Man, I mean, that's just a lot of good options. But I'm telling you, like, I would seriously want to start Bijan, Bucky Irving, and Chase Brown. So I would flex a running back here. But you got lots of good wide receivers if you want to go that route too. I mean, you're basically stacked. Tommy, what's good, bro? Thank you, D up, for hitting your projections. Yeah, I was definitely worried about Hopkins, but I'm glad that he came through for you, to say the least. You'll take those 13 points, right? You'll take them. Face Gibbs, JMO, and Waddle so far in my home league. 72% chance to win. Good chance I make playoffs with a win. Let's go. Let's go. Johnny, Sutton or Pickens, full PPR. Oh boy. I like both a lot this week. They both made the must start video, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I mean, the Browns are 24th against the position. Gosh, it's so tough to bench. So tough to bench Cortland Sutton right now. And the Bengals are 22nd. Like, they're right there. So, I mean, really, trust your gut. Who do you like more? Go with them. I think the floor is still closer with Sutton, but I love both this week. Katie, pick 3, half PPR, JSN, BTJ, McLaurin, Jawan Jennings, and Devontae Adams. Yeah, I'm going to go with the first 3. I think they are the safest starts. I do think the Jets can kind of come out of the bye and put up a good offensive performance this week, but I would rather start JSN, BTJ, and McLaurin over Adams. And then Jennings, like, I want to start, but we just don't know what's going on with Brock Purdy quite yet. So it's a bad matchup for him anyways. So I'll go JSN, Brian Thomas, and McLaurin. Buccaneers defense or pick up the Bills / Seahawks. If we get word that Purdy's not going to play, which once again is kind of trending that he is going to play, then I would definitely pick up the Bills. And once again, the Panthers aren't really just this team that we can like stream defenses against like they were early in the season. Um, and they're startable and they have a lot of good matchups coming up, but I kind of lean the Bills here for the safest floor. Probably go Bills, Bucks, Seahawks. If Purdy doesn't play, then you got to go Bills for sure. Quinn Johnston or Dobbs for rest of the season, half PPR. I go Quinn Johnston. Call me crazy. Cardinals defense or Chiefs defense. Cardinals. The Chiefs defense are not a good fantasy defense. Been saying this all season long, and my thoughts just haven't changed. And I don't quite know that yesterday did much. Where did they finish? There we go. Yeah, I mean, they got 6 points against the Raiders. I thought it might be like 7 or 8, but they have double digits once on the season against Cincinnati of all teams because they scored a defensive touchdown in that game. They had 2 forced fumbles, fumble recovery, and a score touchdown. But yeah, like they have not been good. They are the defense 24 in fantasy. The Chiefs defense is not good from a fantasy perspective. They're good in real life for the most part. They're a little banged up right now. It's the Cardinals. And this week will be very telling of what we're going to get out of the Cardinals defense, I think, throughout the playoffs. But they have 13 or excuse me, 12 or more points in their last 3 games. So they're going to get Minnesota. I mean, Darnold was kind of having an interception spell, but it looks like that's over with. And they get Seattle, Geno Smith, kind of the same-ish deal. New England, rookie quarterback, Carolina. Like, we can't just count them out every week. They're playing okay, but it's still Bryce Young. They get Stafford. I mean, he's been much better as of late, but the last time they played the Rams, they had 12 points. But Kupp and Nakua are both out that week, I believe. But yeah, I mean, it's still the Cardinals for me. Yeah, go Quinn Johnston. Call me crazy. Johnny, what's good, bro? Half PPR, Ramondre, Shakir, or Devonta. I mean, I like all the options here, but in half PPR, give me Ramondre Stevenson. Kevin Flowers, Jennings, MH, Aaron Jones, and JT need one running back, one wide receiver, and a flex. I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. against the Vikings for sure. I think he's going to have a good bounce back week. All the other guys involved here kind of are in tough spots here, except maybe Aaron Jones. Or Cardinals are 22nd. I go MH and Aaron Jones. It's a bad matchup for Flowers. Jennings in a weird spot with Purdy, and it's a bad matchup for JT. Actually, no, it's a decent. Sorry, Patriots are 20th against position, so it's not too bad. So I probably go MH, Jones, and JT. Like Flowers might have 27 points, or he might have 7. I mean, it's say Flowers. You could start him if you like him, but I'm just worried about the Jennings sitch, the Purdy sitch. When he played D-Hop, because at that time DK was still questionable. It's going to play Thielen. Yeah, I'm glad you did. Take those 13 points. Stillbur, should I consider Dawson Knox? I have Goddard. No, I mean, what? No. I mean, Knox is 100% touchdown dependent. 100%. And his last start before the bye week with Kincaid out, he had 8 points. I mean, he's like a desperation start to me. The Niners are still very good against tight ends, allowing the 6th fewest points. So I go Disley, Pitts, then Knox. But honestly, I just start Goddard. It's a great matchup. The Ravens have been really bad against tight ends. So I just take my chances with Dallas Goddard. Like, you know, we don't have a Jonnu Smith in here or Kate Otten that can absolutely pop off. We're kind of just looking at, you know, your mediocre bunch of you need the volume in a specific game or you need a touchdown. You know, maybe Pitts can always pop off, right? Disley can always have a big game, but I just go Goddard. Ivan, I have Jennings, Metcalf, Shakir, Cooper. Which 2 to start? That's tough. I go Shakir for sure. And then I know, like, I'm a little worried about Metcalf this week. I talked about him in the bus video, but I go Metcalf here. I take my chances. We're starting Debo this week. It's a good question. I prefer not to start Debo this week. Like, just go with the more sure player, say floor type player that you have. I prefer to try and stray away from Debo this week, but Debo can always get it done. But the big deal here is, is Purdy even going to play? Looks like he's probably going to, but is Purdy 100%? I don't think so. I Purdy bench 2 already due to weather, but available is A. Rich, Wilson, Carr, Will Levis. Yeah. And, we talked a lot about Tua and the weather throughout the week. And I was really worried about it. And for most of the game, it looked like that was ringing true. But, man, he really started to come through. And I mean, really, the team as a whole started to come through as that game progressed. And Tua had a great game. Tua's been really good. So, my bad on the weather over evaluation, but I know I wasn't the only one. But I mean, even the Packers were a little bit slow throwing the football to start, but they got going too. So, um, anyways, and I mean, Richardson might have a big game. He might do what he did last week. Receivers didn't really help him out last week, right? I'd probably go Russell Wilson. It's a great matchup against the Bengals. I'll go Wilson, then Will Levis, then Carr, then A. Rich. Derek, we got Pollard, Marvin Harrison, Pittman, pick one. I go Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's going to have a good week. But you could go Pittman. I think Pittman's really stinky this week. Great matchup for him. No Josh Downs. I do really like Pittman this week. And I think Pollard, of course, is always a solid start. But I'm sticking with MH this week. Hunter Henry or Taysom Hill? Ask Kevin. Hunter Henry if you want a floor. Taysom Hill if you want upside and or risk. Jonathan, Addison, Coop, or Adams? Honestly, I'd probably just keep rolling with Jordan Addison. He's been balling out as of late. Go Addison, Adams, and Cooper. I think Cooper could have a good game, but it's so up in the air. What are we really going to get out of Amari Cooper? He's just kind of back in my head in terms of guys that I would want to start this week. And he could pop off, have a good game, or he could just do absolutely nothing. So I don't really know how to view him right now. Tommy, we got pick 3: JSN, Nick Westbrook-Ikini, MVS, Dell, Otten. I'm already playing DK. I would definitely start JSN. I would start. Man, I think Otten's gonna have a big week. I think I would start Otten, bro, against the Panthers. So I want to start Nick Westbrook-Ikini, but I MVS, Nick Westbrook-Ikini are both these low volume, touchdown necessary guys that will probably have a very good shot at scoring touchdowns this week. So you could really go with either of those guys, whoever you like more. But I go JSN and Otten. I mean, Dell's still startable. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, last week was a good game for Tank Dell, and he got you 10 points. You're happy. I mean, he does have a great matchup. So if you want to go with him for more of a floor, that's fine. If you want to go with him over NWI or MVS, all they're good options. I mean, I would go JSN and Otten and then kind of take whoever you feel the best about. Or you could just go out of pocket and go full upside and go Nick Westbrook-Ikini, MVS, and Tank Dell. I mean, a lot of risk, but a lot of upside there if you want it. Touching topics. Let's talk about it. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. a lock for tomorrow? I think so. He's a must-start player for me. I'm taking the matchup here against the Vikings, who are allowing the most points to wide receivers. Andrews, Disley, or Ingram? For me, it's just Andrews. If I got Mark Andrews, I'm just rolling with the punches, taking it when it's there, being sad when it's not there, but he gives you the best shot here on a weekly basis. So I go Andrews, Ingram. Now that T-Law is back, then Disley, but all are good. But Andrews is a tier above those guys, in my opinion, for sure. And Ingram should be there. His quarterback just hasn't been healthy. Albert, what's good, bro? Rock, you are welcome. Kitty, thoughts on Bigsby? I've Hunt. I played him. And CMC is so in some trouble. Yeah, I'm still even if Purdy doesn't play, I'm still starting CMC over Bigsby. I have no interest in Bigsby. If there's nothing out there on waivers, like you can still hold on to him to kind of see how this running back situation shakes out because like we have ETN and Bigsby healthy going into the week. Now T-Law's back, a quarterback and healthy. We really haven't had that in a couple of weeks, so we could just kind of see how this plays out and maybe it's there, but ultimately, like, you know, if there are options you like better, you can move on from Bigsby if you prefer. All right, so we got this one. Said Addison. Johnny, start Baker or Kyler? Honestly, I'm going Baker. I mean, like I think Kyler's very startable this week. I don't think he's a bad start per se. Um, but he's a little bit more up and down. The Vikings are right there in the middle, giving up the 18th most points to quarterbacks. Yeah, I think Baker's just safer and he's got a high ceiling, and the Panthers allow the 26th most fantasy points to the position. And the Bucks pass defense very bad. I think the Panthers are going to stay in that game, keep things competitive, and force Baker to have to throw a little bit more. I don't think it's all going to be Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Sean Tucker. I think we're going to see Otten and Evans and these other guys be involved in this game. Addison or Chubb? I'm going Addison. I'm not a believer in Chubb. I know he had the big game last week. Bad matchup this week. It was a bad matchup last week too, but I'm not there. You're welcome, Jonathan. Caden, Justin Tucker, Zane Gonzalez. Tucker kind of bounced back, right? 7 points. 3 of 3 on attempts. Made his only field goal. Was better than the previous week where he missed 2 field goals. So, I mean, I think he's fine. And that's one of those games where the coaches are going to take points when they're there, I think, maybe, except for maybe not Nick Sirianni. We'll see. I do think Zane Gonzalez is a decent start. It's Tennessee. That's one of those defenses that bends but doesn't necessarily break. You want to see some field goals in that game. But I think I'd just take Tucker. That's close, though. Barbara, 1 for the flex. Shakir, BTJ, Amari, or Nick Westbrook, Akini. Happy PR. Had the chance to play Jaden Reed, but I didn't. Yeah, he's another one who spooked me this week and just absolutely balled out, right? I would start Brian Thomas Jr. for the upside due to matchup here with T-Law back, but Shakir is a very good floor if you just want the floor. But I would probably go BTJ. Whew. Sorry, guys. I was going to bench Brees for Bucky, but I feel Hall's going to smash. It's close. I probably am not benching Bucky Irving if I own him, being that he gets the Panthers. Aaron needs a wide receiver and a flex. JSN, Ladd, B-Rob, or Aaron Jones, please. I'm going Ladd McConkey. I think he's up in that area of like, you own Ladd McConkey. At this point, you probably just roll with them. And the Falcons have given up the 28th most points to wide receivers. So for me, I just roll with the trends here of JSN and Ladd McConkey. They've both been great lately. Kyler or Herbert? Super close. I'm sticking with Herbert. It's a great matchup against the Falcons. There's probably more upside involved with Kyler, but I think I'll go Herbert. Drop Nick Westbrook, Akini for Pittman. Yeah, listen, I've been all over the Nick Westbrook Akini train for weeks now. Feel like I started it, but I will go Pittman. I like Pittman more. Chase, what's up, my guy? Stafford or Kirk? I'm going Stafford. I have no interest in Kirk right now from a fantasy perspective. I would only be looking to start Kirko Chains and like super flex. You know, I'm not in on Kirk. See how the season wraps up though. Good to see you, Chase and Savvy. What's up? MH or Mooney? I'm going MH Jr. Jets defense or Bucks defense? I don't trust the Jets defense with with anything. I don't want to start them. I would probably just go the Bucks defense. Just defense or the defense 23. I mean, they're playing Geno Smith and company, then Tua and company, then the Jags, maybe good, then Stafford, then Allen. Like, I just, this team is lost. I mean, the Bucks are the defense 18, not much better, but I would rather start the Bucks defense. Who should I drop Hunt for? Warren, Vidal, Edwards, or Myers? Myers for sure. I mean, in non PPR, like maybe you go with one of the running backs here, but I have a tough time in any format. Um, just not picking up a wide receiver one who has double digits in every start but 2 since week 3. He doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. Like he is better in PPR. But he gets Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Jacksonville, New Orleans, bro. It's Jacoby Myers. If it was a running back, it'd be Jalen Warren, but Jacoby Myers should not be available, regardless of format here. Bucky or Brees? I'm leaning Bucky, but I do really like Brees this week. But yeah, I mean, Bucky got Carolina. You said it, bro. MVS or Vele? I mean, obviously, we've talked about both throughout the week in the videos. Vele for a floor, MVS for more risk, but upside. Addison or Westbrook? Yeah. I probably stick with Addison, but I'm okay going Westbrook or Keeney, but I probably stick with Addison. Nick Westbrook or Keeney to the moon. Otten or Hawkinson? Otten for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, Hawkinson's been fine, but it's Otten for me. Just activated Keeney and Guangguo. Probably not saying that right. From the practice squad. Not sure if this has anything to do with Brees Hall. Should I swap him out for Rashad White to be safe or hold? I mean, if you're worried about it, trust your gut instinct there. I do think Rashad White will still have a good game, even with Bucky in front of him. But yeah, you kind of got to do it. You know, the Jets play in the early window and the Bucks play in the later window. So, I mean, it looks as if Brees Hall's going to play. He's expected to. I wonder if there's any other injuries here at running back. Doesn't look like it. I mean, you just kind of have Izzy and Isaiah Davis who just haven't like played. Isaiah Davis has played a little bit, I guess. He has 2 touches on the season. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, 5 touches. But I'm not going to overreact to that. I mean, Kane has no touches on the season, so but it is a good little, I mean, this is interesting for sure. If you don't like it, you can go Rashad White. I think White's going to be fine. Barbara played the Cowboys defense. Pretty happy about that. Yeah, nice. Glad we made that call early in the week. Glad they were on the must start video. Although I really thought Tommy DeVito was going to play all week. I mean, like the reports that he was probably not going to play. Like, I actually, when I made not like the Thanksgiving video I put out, did like okay, didn't get a ton of views, but it was fun to put together. I stayed up way too late doing that. I put like, I don't know how many of you guys watched it, but like pictures of like mashed potatoes and like all kinds of stuff in it. It was fun. I'm glad I did it, but I really thought Tommy DeVito was going to play. Like I made the video as if DeVito was going to play, and then it was obviously Drew Lock. But yeah, Cowboys defense bought out. And the other good call we had in that game was Rico Dowdle. Like all week, I was really talking up Rico Dowdle as a good start. And of course, CeeDee Lamb got a little banged up and had a bad game. That sucked. What did didn't Shoemaker come through? Another solid line, 8.3. Shoemaker is still an option as long as Ferguson's out, though. He's got a pretty good schedule. But yeah, good for you for starting the Cowboys defense. Rashad White or JT? I'm telling you, I like Rashad White. Yeah, I mean, I think JT is expected for some positive regression here. It is a good matchup. The Pats are 20th against the position. So if you want to go Taylor, that's fine. He's got 7 or less points in the last 2 games, 8.9 or less than 3 out of the last 4. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. I just don't know what to expect out of the Colts offense right now. The matchup's there for Rashad White if you want it. Ghost Hunter, what's up, dude? We need 1 for tight end, 1 for wide receiver, and 1 for flex. I'm going Otten at tight end. All in on Otten this week. Panthers suck against tight ends. Give me Lad McConkey at wide receiver. And then in the flex, this is the first time tonight I've kind of wanted to lean towards Jawan Jennings. You could go Warren. You could go Ingram, I guess. I wouldn't go Spears, and I'm not quite there on Palmer. I know like Quinn Johnson had the bad game, all that stuff. It's a good matchup, but I'm not there personally. I'm definitely going Lad, and I'm definitely going Otten. Whoever you like better out of Ingram or Jennings. Like I think if and Purdy is kind of trending towards playing, so I think I take a chance on Jennings in this circumstance. Chase, I would hate benching Devonta if he plays in the afternoon, but can I feel good about playing Higgins and B Tom? Yeah. I still really like Devonta, and I think he can bounce back in this matchup, and this is going to be a good game script. But if you have to hold out and start Higgins and B Tom, like those guys are still, I probably like them just as much as I like Devonta Smith this week. So I don't feel bad about that. Ghost Hunter, Denver or Houston? Beginning of the week, I thought Trevor Lawrence wasn't playing. I just thought it was Mac Jones, but beginning of the week would definitely be Houston. I still really like them. I'll say Denver for a floor, Houston for more kind of upside, but could end up bending. They still have a bad secondary. T or DK? I'm going T. I think he has more touchdown upside and half PPR. Addison, Shakir, or Westbrook? Shakir for me. That's my guy. Never had it so good. We got a PPR wide receiver and a flex. Devonta Smith, Devontae Adams, Mooney, B-Rob, Edwards. See, this is like one where I want to start Devonta Smith, and then I probably just go Brian Robinson Jr. But if Smith starts trending in the wrong direction, I just go Mooney. Aaron, 1 running back, Jones, B-Rob, or Cook. Cook for sure. Yeah. Other 2 are good, but Cook for sure. Forever Eagles, having a tough time whether to start Judy on my flex because of a revenge game. Yes, it is a revenge game. But also afraid of Surtain locking him up since Tillman's out. Have MVS, Chubb, Etienne, or Westbrook. I would still start Judy due to volume. I mean, Judy had a tough matchup in the snow last week and caught every ball that went his way. It is not a good matchup for Judy, but yeah, I like Judy here. I'd have a tough. I mean, MVS is the only other player I'd really make an argument for, and I like Westbrook, but yeah, I would just go Judy. Simp, hello. London, BTJ, or Pickens, like all 3. I'm not benching Drake London. If I own him, I'm starting him. The other one's really close. I'd probably go Pickens by a hair, and if you like B Tom more, that's fine. Pick 2 running backs in a flex. Brown, Williams, Chuba, and Connor. Yeah, I'm looking at matchup. I'm benching James Conner against the Vikings, giving up the 3rd fewest fantasy points to running backs. And I'm going Chase Brown. Kyron, I think, will bounce back against the Saints this week. And I'm not benching Chuba, so I'll go with the first 3. Hurts or Daniels this week. I mean, you can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong here. But I'll go Hurts in a primetime game against the Ravens. Just that should be an exciting, high scoring type game. But I mean, if you wanted to go JD5, that's fine. But I'm going Hurts. But once again, like you're not going to go wrong here. Katie, what's going on? You are welcome. No problem at all. That's what we're here for. Stroud or Darnold? Darnold's been very good. I kind of like talked about this past week on Tuesday's stream. Like Darnold is just kind of an every week start. You know, he had the hiccup game against Jacksonville, which is like kind of alarming because it's Jacksonville. But you look over since week 7, he's had 17 or more points in every game, 17 or more points in every game since week 2, except for 2 games. So I would probably just start Darnold because I think he's the safest. But if it was any other week, I wouldn't even question it. It would just be Darnold. But Stroud, it just has that good matchup against Jacksonville. And I mean, Stroud has just been so disappointing. I think I go Darnold. I think I go Darnold. Also, this could be just a huge Joe Mixon week, right? Oh, sorry. Kicker starting, but could pick up Bass, Romo, Grupe, McManus. I probably go Lutz. I like Lutz this week. I do. And he's been pretty dang good. He's like, I mean, I think he's for sure in the top 10. He's like 7 or 8. No, he's kicker 5 now. I would stick with Lutz. I'd stick with Lutz. Teddy for flex, Metcalf, Walker, or Pittman. What's up, Teddy? Call me crazy, but I really like Pittman this week. I go Pittman. But this could go in any direction. I probably personally rank these as Pittman, Walker, then Metcalf. Is Chase McLaughlin a good option this week? I mean, Chase has been pretty dang good on the season. So, yeah, I think he's a good option this week. He's a kicker 11. He's moved back a little bit. He hasn't had double digits since week 5. I think he's still a decent option against the Panthers. Pete's kicker rankings video is out for any guys who need further breakdowns on kickers. Swans, full PPR, need a flex. C-Mac, Evans, Higgins. Oh, man. This could really go any direction. I think I'm starting Evans this week, though. This just feels like a Mike Evans week against the Panthers. But I mean, Purdy plays, CMC's fine, and Higgins is always a great start. And the Chargers defense has not been as good as of late, but I'm going Evans. But yeah, those are good options, man. Big Dom, we got Jennings or Wilson. Oh man. Give me Garrett Wilson. Give me Garrett Wilson. What's the weather report looking like? Because isn't that game, the Bills game, also supposed to be snowy? Oh yeah, we got. So yeah, 77% chance of snow in the Niners at Bills. That's gonna be fun. But that does kind of leave Jennings' stock a little bit lower. It's gonna be kind of windy, but probably snowy. Other than that, everything's just kind of cold, but no weather. Lots of dome stadiums. Maybe a tiny bit of rain with the Titans Commanders, but only a 15% chance, 10% chance, and Eagles at Ravens. Everything else is basically clear or in a dome. But yeah, we are going to get snow between the Niners at Bills, which makes sense this time of year. So keep that in mind. That does make me like James Cook and CMC a little bit more. But I already really liked Cook. But yeah, I'll go Garrett Wilson. Do I need to worry about Bijan? No. 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 Hurts or Allen? I mean, probably Hurts due to the weather. But I don't know. Allen in the snow could run for 3 touchdowns. You really can't go wrong here. But I go Hurts if I was going to make an argument. Marv or B-Tom? I like Marv. I'll say B-Tom for a floor, Marvin Harrison Jr. for upside, but both are good, and I kind of lean Marv. Chuba Pollard or Taysom Hill? Chuba for sure. Judy or Amari Cooper or Judy? Yeah, I'm in on Judy this week. Like, I'm worried about Judy, but I'm in on him. I think he has a good floor. I don't, like I talked about earlier, like, I don't feel good about Cooper. I don't know why, but Cooper just I just feel kind of, he's like in the back of my head in rankings. Like, I don't want to start him. Nick Folk or Lutz? I probably go Lutz, but Folk is probably a decent start. He had a big game last week. I like Lutz, but Folk's probably okay. Stevenson or Jennings? I'm going Stevenson against the Colts. I'm going Stevenson. Salty hooligan. DC King, what's up, bro? I'm doing good. Hope you are. Have a tough question. Need as many points as possible. Don't we all? Excuse me. For one of these two guys, who do you think will score the most, Connor or Dell? I mean, Connor can always get it done, but he does have a really bad matchup on the road, as the Vikings have allowed the third fewest fantasy points to running backs. Tank Dell gets a great matchup against the Jags, so if you need the upside, go Tank Dell. Taylor, the snow was the main reason I was torn on Shakir or Mooney. Yeah, I feel like Shakir will be okay. Like, I don't really worry about Khalil Shakir, but it's fair. Yeah, I mean, and Mooney's very startable. And sometimes, like, the weather ends up just not being, like, it just doesn't matter. I mean, look at Judy last week. I don't know, but then he could argue, look at Pickens last week. You know, Pickens had a down game. Mooney's startable here, but I still feel like the floor lies with Shakir. Would you start Moore over Brian Robinson? No. Christian Watson in the chat. No, I still go Brian Robinson. Hawkinson or Njoku? I mean, it could really go either way. It's truly 50-50. But I think I go Hawkinson. But this could go in either direction. It's not really, neither player here has a good matchup, so yeah. I don't know what I'm doing when I touch my head like this. It's like I start doing random things when I'm streaming. Sorry. Baker Allen. I'm always like, if you know, I'm always starting Josh Allen. Baker's fine. If you want to go Baker, he's got a great matchup. I put him in the must-start video. I love Baker this week, but like Allen, Hurts, Lamar, those are the guys that I'm like, I just start them. I take whatever they give me. I don't, it's most of the time it's very good. Every now and then it's not as good. But yeah, I just have a tough time not starting that caliber of player. But it's not like Baker is that far in the rankings. What is he, the QB 5? So Baker has the matchup here if you want it. He's the QB 5 against Carolina. So, and once again, I do think Carolina will keep that game competitive. So, anyway, due to the matchup, yeah, I still think Baker's very startable this week. But yeah, like if I got Allen, I mean, I don't think I'm benching Allen. Taysom or Otten? Yeah, I go Otten. I don't chase Taysom Hill points. I go Otten. Great matchup for Otten. I think he's having a big week, but Hill can always get it done. You think Higgins and Chase go off? Yeah, I do. Yeah, this week, yeah. It's much easier to argue that they will than it is to argue that they won't. Yeah, the Chargers defense has not been as good as of late. Teddy, starting Pittman, you were welcome. Last question. Can you explain to me how in the world Kittle is still producing? Yeah. Well, Well, one thing with last week is that the Packers have not been very good against opposing tight ends, which we saw again this week with Johnny Smith. But also Johnny Smith is like this second coming of Jesus or something. But yeah, I mean, they're bottom 12 against tight ends. And I mean, when you look at Kittle last week, I mean, also he's one of the best tight ends in the league, you know. But yeah, 6 targets, 6 grabs. Yeah, he was open. And he got the touchdown, right? So it's one game. I mean, we got to give it some time here. If Allen plays again, is it going to be the same thing this week or next week? We'll find out. But it was a good matchup, and he got a touchdown. You know, he's great. And one thing that happens with tight ends, whether it's backup quarterbacks or rookie quarterbacks, they lean on the tight end as kind of like that security blanket. So they're going to take those shots when they're there, right? Who's going to play in the Super Bowl? Oh man, I don't really feel like there's any safe answer. I think the Lions, like, obvious favorite right now, but the Bills, the Ravens, the Eagles, the Chiefs. I mean, there's plenty of teams. I think there's some sneaky teams. I think the Chargers are a bit sneaky. I think you could see like a Cinderella story, um, like from the Buccaneers. I still think the Vikings and Packers are Super Bowl worthy. I think the Broncos could make a Cinderella story run. I think the Texans could still be a team. I don't really believe in them that far, but I think they could. I think the Steelers, same type of scenario. The Buccaneers aren't even in the playoffs right now, technically, but I think they could get in. Uh, it's going to be interesting how things shake out here at the end. It's like right now, the Rams and Niners, Cardinals all can still get in terms of that division. Then he kind of just got one team on the outside in the NFC. Because I think the Packers are going to, I think the Packers, Vikings will both get in on top of the Lions as well. I really think all three of those teams are going. So technically, the Raiders and Giants are the only eliminated teams. They both got eliminated this past week. But everybody else is still in. The Jags can still make it in at 2-9. The Patriots can make it in at 3-9. The Panthers can make it in at 3-8. But I think like if any of those teams lose one game, they're out. The Titans and Jets and Browns are all 3-8 and can still make it in. So who knows? It's so all over the place. I do think things will get interesting this year, but the Chiefs are the only team that's clinched a playoff spot. I think the Lions can clinch if the Vikings lose or something weird. I think the Bills can clinch this week too. We'll see. Devontae or Mooney? I would go Mooney, but it could go either way. Houston or Tampa Bay? Tampa for a floor, Houston for more upside. I'd probably still lean Houston. You're welcome, Christian. Connor, Pollard, Stevenson, Irving. Start those 4 running backs or sit one and flex Harrison. I would sit Connor for Harrison personally. But Connor, like I've been saying all stream, Connor can always get it done. You know, it's just a tough matchup. So, yeah, I really like Marvin Harrison Jr. this week. It's a great matchup. I take the matchups here. Pollard, Stevenson, Irving, Harrison had the matchups. How are you feeling about CMC this week with no Trent Williams versus the Bills? Would it be crazy to bench him for either DK or Brian Thomas Jr. in half PPR? I mean, I think the thing that concerns me the most is Brock Purdy or no Brock Purdy. I don't think it's crazy to bench him, but the Bills have been soft against running backs. I wonder if they've moved up at all. Let me check here. No, they're still their 30th, giving the 30th most fantasy points to running backs. So, um, I think in half PPR, I still start CMC. But honestly, I like Brian Thomas Jr. more than DK this week. John, what's good, man? Just started watching Channel 11 so far. Thank you for that, bro. In a pickle. Need two flex. Devonta, Judy, Addison, or beat Dom. I prefer to start Devonta Smith and Brian Thomas Jr. here. Good matchup, primetime game. Uh, good game script for Devonta Smith, presumably. I think he will bounce back if he plays. I haven't looked at we've talked about him throughout the stream, but type of report do we have? He's just questionable. So annoying. I think if he plays, he'll bounce back though. So yeah, I prefer Devonta and BTJ, but if Devonta, like, we don't get an update, I'd probably just go Judy. The good news is Judy plays Monday, so Judy's kind of a floor. Addison's more the upside play if you want to go with that, but I definitely go BTJ here. Then I'd prefer to start Devonta. So yeah. Thanks for the feedback on the channel. I appreciate it, man. Harlan, it sucks. Pearsall isn't getting targets. He has so much potential. Yeah, I think he's like one of these players that can like bounce back at any moment and be a thing again. But just like I don't think it's going to be consistent on the rest of the season. I think he's like a really good dynasty piece, but yeah, it's just tough. He's obviously effective in the slot, but wasn't one of the big games he had a no Kittle game too? Maybe I'm wrong. So weeks 8 and 10. Now I'm wrong. Kittle played both those games. Kittle was out week 11, which was also a bad game for Pearsall. It was a Geno Smith rushing touchdown victory game. All right, thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Be sure, do me a favor, hit the like button, guys. Hit the like. Do it. Safe answer is Eagles versus Kansas City. I don't know if there is a safe answer, but I think I could see this being a Super Bowl. Garrett Wilson or B Rob. Yeah, this could go either way, Chase. Go either way. I mean, it is a tough matchup for B Rob. Titans are 10th against the position. And the Hawks are right in the middle, 18th against wide receivers. Close to the middle, but. And Wilson's had like 2 badish games in a row. I think in PPR, I still go Garrett Wilson, but B Rob's fine. I think he still has a good floor, just not a great matchup. But Eckler's out, so that should help B Rob. But keep in mind, I mean, B Rob is going to this game a bit dinged up. It's not his first injury on the season either. JT Kyron or Kyron Chuba. I would definitely go Kyron and Chuba this week. Kyron gets the Saints. Frankly, I don't care who Chuba gets, but he's got a great matchup against the Bucs, so I go with those two. But JT's got okay. I mean, Patriots aren't great. They're 20th against running backs. But I would definitely prefer to go Kyron and Chuba here. Vikings, Texans, Colts, Bucks. For defense, I probably go the Texans. I take the upside, but if you want a floor, I still think the Vikings have a good floor. What's going on, Orac? Good to see you, bro. Hope you're doing well. Oz, what's up, bro? Joe Burrow or Josh Allen? Yeah. I mean, like we talked about this earlier. Joe Burrow is probably the other quarterback in that tier of like, if I own them, I just start them every week. I mean, Burrow's your QB3. Allen's a little bit back. He's a QB6, but he's still in that range. Lamar's QB1. Hurts is QB2. Very tough to bench any of those guys. JD5's your QB4. Baker's QB5. So then what? I think Bo Nix is the QB7. Yes. Sorry. I wanted to check. Yeah, those are the guys that I'm like, I don't know. Mahomes has moved up. He didn't have a great game this past week, but he's QB8. Goff's a QB9. Darnold's QB10. But some of these guys have one game up, so they might move up. Anyway, sorry. I think I go Burrow. It's so close. Like you can't really you're not gonna have a bad start. But these are both must-start players. Look at matchup for you. Chargers are 15th against quarterbacks. San Fran is 8th. So Burrow's got the better matchup for what it's worth, but this might be a big Bills game. I think I go Burrow because you get a better chance of like a shootout there. Can you predict if I will win this week off of running back and wide receiver matchups? I can, but who knows? Anything can happen any given week, any given Sunday. Bijan Bucky, great start. Sutton Evans playing CMC Connor, JSN Ladd. I will say, I like your side a lot more. Yeah, I like your side a lot more. Bucky and Sutton made the must-start video. Evans was very close to making them. It feels like a great Mike Evans week. Bijan, I mean, Bijan's Bijan. So, yeah, I like your side more. The other side's fine, but I will give the favorite to you. Orac, we need 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Give me Ladd McConkey. Give me Scary Terry. Just give me Terry. And I'll go Chase Brown. I'll go Kenneth. And then I'll flex CMC. But if we get word that like Purdy's not going to play, then he could go Mooney. But you'd have to do so. Like we'd have to get word pretty early in the day because the Falcons are in the early window. But honestly, right now I'd have McLaurin, Ladd, Kenneth, Chase Brown, CMC in. Mark Andrews or Njoku. I will go with Mark Andrews personally. Njoku or Taysom Hill. I mean, I think Njoku probably still gives you a good floor. That's not a good matchup. So I'd probably just risk it with Taysom Hill. Going to do Kyron Chuba. I can see Chuba producing more because AR always takes JT's rushing touchdowns. Yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor could have a very good game. I think he could see positive regression at any point in time, but nah, we'll see. Daniels, Purdy, or Bo Nix. I'd probably go JD5. But you could go Bo Nix. I think Purdy's the odd man out here. Still worth rostering, but due to the injury and the weather and the matchup, he's the odd man out. But it could definitely go either way with either player. I'd probably just take the upside with Jaden Daniels. I'll look at rankings. The Titans are 20th against quarterbacks. The Browns are 13th. So, yeah, I think I go Daniels. We shall see. 10-man Dynasty PPR. Drop Lockett for Elijah Moore. Sure. I mean, what is Lock like? The crazy thing about Dynasty is like value changes every week. You know, let's say Metcalf gets hurt and Lockett starts producing, then his value's right back up there, you know. Elijah Moore was maybe not even a thing beginning of the season and now has some value, but he's also kind of had some dips too, weeks 9 and 12. I mean, I will say Elijah Moore's strength of schedule is not good. He gets Denver, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Cincy, and Miami. The only good matchup is Cincy, but he's 24 going into his 4th season. I don't know what his contract looks like, or he'll be back next year. if that's a good or bad thing. He could just vanish into non-existent. Where Lockett at least has that name value, but he's 32. I don't know what his contract situation is either. Dynasty calls are always so difficult. But at worst, like maybe Elijah Moore is somewhat producing as the season ends here. You can always like flip him for like a third rounder or something. Where Lockett might be harder to flip. And it also depends, like, are you contending or not contending? If you're not contending, then I take the younger player in Elijah Moore. If you're contending, then I would stick with Lockett, but it's close. Harlan, I feel like JT's due for an explosive run. Yeah, it's a good matchup. It's not a bad matchup. Just depends on who you got, right? But I like Kyron and Chuba more personally this week. But if you go JT, he's fine. Start Burrow or Herbert. What's up, Joseph? I still go Burrow, but I do like Herbert a lot. And Bucky or Lad, I'm Bucky. Going Bucky. Taysom Hill, a flex playing standard. What's your limit rank? Frankie, you're freaking jacked. I'm just looking at your avatar in that tank. I want to make sure I answer this right so you don't beat me up. Sorry, I don't understand the last part. What's your limit rank? He's definitely worth a flex and standard, that's for sure. But it just kind of depends on who else you got. He still brings a lot of risk, but in standard, Taysom Hill has tons of touchdown upside, so he's very startable. Bottom of the chat, Luis with the super chat. Thank you. Opponent has Dallas D. Need upside. Sit Knicks for Dell Stroud combo. That's a tough one. I mean, if you want the upside, yeah, the upside lies with Tank Dell and CJ Stroud. They're playing Jacksonville, so it is still a tough matchup for Bo Nix. Like I think Bo Nix very good, and we've been in on Bo Nix for weeks. Don't get me started on that, but yeah, if you want the upside, man, the upside lies with Dell and Stroud because they're playing Jacksonville. So take the upside. Taysom Hill or Cade Otton. I go Cade Otton over Taysom Hill. Pittsburgh's going to dominate the paper Tigers. Probably so. But it could be a good little shootout here. You never know. You never know. Chuba Jennings, Jason, Rashad White, Stevenson, the flex. It's Chuba. I like Stevenson. I like White this week. I like JSN. It's Chuba. Shad, what's going on? Quentin Johnston or MVS? Evan Ingram or Dallas? Dallas Goddard. Just trying to decipher things here. I will go MVS. I will risk it with MVS here. I'm assuming that's half PPR, not happy PR. Oh, yeah, half PPR. Quentin Johnston or Lads. If it's Lad McConkey, I'll go Lad McConkey. Let me know on the chat. Savvy, MH Jr. or Mooney. I will go MH Jr. here against the Vikings. Zach with the super chat. Thank you. Cousins or Carr? I will go Carr. I have no interest in Cousins from a fantasy perspective. I think Kirk Cousins is a super cool guy, but um, you got the 2 big games against Tampa Bay. 28 points in week 8, 35 in week 5. You got a decent game against Philly and Dallas, 17.5 and 17.7 in those 2 games. Every other game for Cousins on the season has been 12.5 or less points. And we're talking like 8.2, 8.52, 9.1, 5.9, like some really low games. I can't start Kirk Cousins right. Maybe he has the revenge game against Minnesota next week, but like I cannot touch Kirk Cousins right now. It's just way too risky. We're getting into these are the very crucial weeks in fantasy, right? These are make it or break it weeks. And Carr gets the Rams, which is not like great. But he's been okay in his last 2 starts, 18 or more fantasy points in 2 straight games. So I'm going Carr. Okay, I see Frankie at the bottom of the chat. I just want to answer this one because I was confused on his question. But Taysom Hill, Marvin Harrison Jr., Najee or Gus Bus and standard, I will still go with the most touchdown upside. And I think the matchup for Marvin Harrison Jr. Presents the most upside, even in standard. So I will go Marvin Harrison Jr. Glitch Mod says your mom or my mom. Probably your mom. Thank you for your first super on a live stream. Drake May or Levis asks Zach. I go Levis. Give me Levis. He's got 16 or more fantasy points in 3 straight games. Gets the Commanders. Is not awful. Drake May is close. He gets the Colts. It could be either. Call me crazy. I go Levis. All right, try to get caught up here. Chester, Jets or the Bucks D? I'm not touching I think the chat's repeating for me, but I'm not touching the Jets defense. Give me the Bucks. All right, let me get caught up. All right, I think this is where I need to be. Garrett Wilson, if I missed any question, let me know, but I think that's where I need to be. The chat does this thing, some like where it repeats. I have to scroll all the way down and try and be at the right spot. Garrett Wilson, Jalen Warren, Stevenson, Quinn Johnson. I'm going Ramondre. I think Ramondre is going to have a big week. So give me Stevenson. Can I sit Kittle for Taysom Hill? No. Start Kittle. Kittle's the tight end 1. Kittle, Brock Bowers, start them. Bowers might technically be the tight end 1 right now because he played Friday and Kittle hasn't played this week. And he might stay the tight end 1. But still, like those 2 guys, like we're just not like I got to comment. I think it might have been Bowers or Hill. And it's like you got to start these guys, you know? If you have the RB1 or the RB2, the wide receiver 1 or the wide receiver 2, QB1 or like you start those players every week. So yeah, please just start Kittle. PB can't watch connection, keep circling. That might be a connection error on your end. We are good, I believe. Will Disley or Otten? Otten. Great matchup for Otten. He's a must-start tight end for me. All right, so we got this one. Tua D's nuts. MH or Flowers? I'm going MH Jr. Must-start player for me. I think he's going to have a good bounce-back week. The Vikings are allowing the most fantasy points to the wide receiver position on the season. great front seven, kind of a run funnel defense, like very good against the run, but bad against the pass. So I'm hoping the Cardinals can keep it together this week. And yeah, man, I'm going MH. I think he's a must start player this week. So I'm a little worried about Flowers. Like, and Flowers can always do his thing, but it's a tough matchup for him. Um, against Philly, and Philly's been just really good outside of against Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua. Like, they've been really good against wide receiver ones as of late. And Flowers have been kind of playing at a lower ceiling, but it's also um it's also one of these game scripts that could be really positive, you know, and the Eagles and Ravens both good against the run. So I mean, that's just gonna be a good game overall, man. But yeah, I would go MH. Starting Lad and MH and benching Flowers because I started Reed. Yeah, very good if you started Reed. That kind of gives you an advantage going into this. So in that circumstance, I would definitely take the upside and matchup with Marvin Harrison Jr. and definitely start Lad against the Falcons. A great matchup for him. How do we feel about Kamani Vidal, sleeping giant? Maybe. I'm not as high on him as some people might be. Um, he's just a stash. Like, let's see what happens. You know, he's had some opportunities early in the season and just did nothing with them. You know, he had one big catch against Denver and just hasn't done anything outside of that. So I worry about, like, you know, what is he really gonna offer? Like, we still have uh Chase Brown, or excuse me, not Chase. I'm sorry, Gus Bus. I don't know why I said Chase Brown, but and like Hassan Haskins is still going to get something going, maybe at times. We'll find out. At least some goal line opportunity. Uh, theoretically, I don't know. Like, I'm not banking on it. I'm not banking on it. We'll find out. Are you buying the Nick Westbrook-Akini hype? Yes, I've been buying it for weeks. We've talked about him for weeks. You know, I remember I literally, like, I got a comment weeks ago on one of the last we do the last minute waiver videos, right? And I'm seeing if I can pull it up, but literally the comment was, you know, nobody's gonna pick up Nick Westbrook-Akini. I'm like, okay, he's producing, you know. Yeah, we've been talking about it for weeks. I don't know how to pull it up. Doesn't really matter. But the volume's very low. Like, you still want to be very careful here. And you know, really, like, the last 2 weeks, he's had one big touchdown in each game, and that's it. And like, the volume's just low, but you can't take it away. Like, if he's scoring the points, getting the fantasy points, if he's scoring the touchdowns, whatever, he's getting it done. But yeah, but we've been talking about him for weeks and weeks. So yeah, I think I started the hype on him and Bo Nix. Wonder if there's anybody else on the season. I feel like those are the main two. All right, should I take Mixon for Sutton and Chase Brown? Currently at Bijan and Gibbs. You're trading Sutton and Chase Brown for Mixon, but you have Bijan and Gibbs. I mean, like, you're not really doing, like, you know, you're not going in any wrong direction here. Um, I kind of prefer depth, and call me crazy. I don't know that Chase Brown and Joe Mixon are that far apart right now. A lot of people keep saying, like, "Oh, the Bengals could use Joe Mixon." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, Chase Brown is absolutely balling out. I mean, Mixon's also absolutely freaking balling out too, but Mixon has that annoying bye week in week 14, but he gets Jacksonville. It's kind of a tough run after the bye week. Miami, Kansas City, Baltimore. Miami's fine. They're at home for that game too, but I think I just keep the depth here, unless you're just like so stacked at wide receiver you never start Cortland Sutton. But I think I just keep Chase Brown and Sutton. But if you do the trade, like it's fine. It's you're getting you're getting the RB6, and then you'd have the RB3 and RB. What is Bijan? He's a top 10 running back. I don't know off the top of my head. So maybe it depends on the whole roster. It's a big trade. Flowers, Mooney, or Judy. I mean, this could go any direction, but I'd probably go Judy. But that one's kind of up in the air. Got to win to make the playoffs. I also have MVS. Keep him on bench. Yeah, I would bench him over MH Jr. and McConkey. Hope you win. I mean, you never know. Any kickers you feel good about? A lot of kickers that I like this week are played in the games already, but I like Cameron Dicker. I like Boswell. Like, are you gonna be able to pick them up though? Fairbairn. Could be a good week for Jake Elliott. I like Will Lutz. So, see what happens. I don't know if that was helpful. Start AR and Pittman or Purdy and Jennings with snow in his shoulders. I would start Pittman. Do I like Anthony Richardson though? Not really. I feel better about Pittman over Jennings, and I'm kind of low on Purdy this week, so I guess AR, but I don't really like AR this week. But I flex Levis and Nick Westbrook for the JD5 Nico buy. Hey, I think that's solid in terms of replacement. I'm hoping it's solid. Should I start Kyler over Kirk Cousins? Asked Roy. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We just broke down all of Kirk's stats like 10 minutes ago. I don't feel like doing it again, but yeah. Jason, we got Jennings, Pittman, Stevenson, Cooper. Start 2. Was leaning towards Stevenson and Pittman. Yeah, absolutely. Jennings, Purdy's banged up, still technically questionable. Bad weather, tough matchup. Give me Pittman and Stevenson. For sure. Probably keep them since I'm getting Puka next week. I already have Chase. What is this? Like an 8-man league? Which is fine if I'm not trashing people who play in 8-man leagues, but your team is like, yeah, you got nothing to worry about. I just keep the depth here. Your team's stacked. You got Chase, Puka, Sutton. Those running backs, you're fine. Yeah, I know it's getting really, really snowy in Buffalo. Happy Thanksgiving to you. 2 of these nuts. Jason, we got Adams, Harrison, Pittman, Cooper, Thielen, Vele, Chubb. I would start Marvin Harrison Jr. against the Vikings, and I would start Pittman. They have the best matchups. I'd roll with them, and they should see the best volume in theory here. You got some other interesting names. Tommy, good luck to you as well tomorrow. All right, guys, we'll start to wrap up over the next couple minutes. So if you guys need anything, get it in the chat. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you haven't done so already. If you guys are new to the channel or you haven't had time to check out the channel for the week, we have last minute waiver wire additions, 8 potential busts, sneaky starts and streams, 8 must start players, kicker rankings, and then start set videos for quarterbacks and tight ends, running backs, wide receivers, every single matchup, every single player, and must start defenses and streams, and then an early waiver video, which is not as relevant as the waiver video that went out yesterday. So plenty of content here on the channel. If you guys need anything, you guys can go check out some of the videos as well. In 7th place, dang, man. Well, depending on your league standings, you may still be able to make it in. Shall see. All right, guys, we're at the bottom of the chat. In an hour and a half. I got to make tomorrow's video, so we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Like I said, hit the like button. We got plenty of content on the channel if you guys need anything further. I know I have a ton of comments I need to get to. I will make sure all of the comments are cleared before kickoff tomorrow, or is really what I've been having to do lately is go through all the comments that are actual fantasy questions and make sure those are cleared. If you guys aren't asking a question, I don't always respond because um we're at the point where there's too many comments. I can't keep up, which is a good thing. And I appreciate that. But and I also like when I answer your guys' comments, like I'm not just saying whatever or saying something random. Like I'm actually trying to answer them to give you guys the best chance to win. So Orak, have a great day. May the fantasy gods be with us all. That's a perfect way to end the stream. So appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys so much for the fantasy questions tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out, and hope you guys all bring home a dub tomorrow. Look out for tomorrow's video. Be 8 things that you need to know for week 13 of the season. And that'll be it for the night. So good luck to you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the fantasy questions. Taylor, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Love you guys, man. Loves community. Love the catch fam. I will talk to you guys soon. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the catch. And peace.